This podcast is brought to you by Contessa Digital.
Spring is here, love is in the air, and that means that there are plenty of headaches to come. So, my name is Keshia Rice. I am a dating coach and a hypnotherapist. I help women learn how to heal from their unhealthy relationship patterns and create happy, healthy, cherished relationships. So, in the past 6 months, I have had three clients get engaged. And of course, I am very happy for them. And I'm hoping that they have a lifetime of happiness with their partners. But seeing all these engagement announcements got me thinking about some of the pitfalls that I wish I had been warned about when I was engaged, when I was planning my wedding. And because of that, I thought I would share five of those with you. So the first one has to do with dress size and body confidence issues in general. Here's the thing, bridal sizing is different than regular clothes sizing. And for me, just full transparency, I was a fat kid growing up. I had plenty of body confidence issues, dealt with eating disorders and all of that. And, I spent years going to therapy for all of that, doing the inner work, doing the journaling. That was kind of my foray into the self-development space, to begin with. So by the time I got engaged, I was like, I have all of this covered, been working on this for years, everything's good. I was not prepared for the fact that at the time that I was engaged, clothing size, I was an American size 6. My wedding dress was a size 12. A 10 could have fit, but, alterations. And I point that out because a lot of women are not prepared for that. I've had this conversation with a few friends since about the fact, like, hey, when you walk into that dress shop, it is a mind you know what, because, um, yeah, like the wedding dress size is going to be like at least two, if not three sizes bigger than what you normally wear in like your street clothes. I have no clue why that is the case. I think it is dumb. It also makes me worry for size inclusivity when it comes to the bridal industry, because I have clients who are bigger women and they love their bodies, they love the size that they're in, and I think they're beautiful. But I have seen a lot in the past few years since I've gotten involved in the dating and relationship space about this being a pitfall, about how a lot of bridal stores only carry up to a certain size, and then that size is not the size that you're thinking of when you walk into the store. So you may hear that the bridal shop carries up to, like, I don't know, a size 20, and think that you're okay when you don't realize that size 20 in bridal is more like a 14 in regular clothes, and that can be a major difference. So just having that in mind, knowing that it may be harder to find sample sizes on the rack to try on, knowing that regardless of what size you are, you might be in for a bit of a shock when you try on a wedding dress that a consultant hands you and you see what size it is in the wedding dress. And understanding that that is the bridal industry's problem, not yours. And to not let their issues become your body image issues. So I definitely dealt with that. I definitely dealt with that temptation to feel like I was big or like I needed to bride diet before the wedding. And it definitely took some work and some talk with my therapist to, be at a point where when I did walk down the aisle, I was happy on my wedding day, happy, of course, because of who I was marrying, but also just happy with myself and with my body. The second thing If you are not sure what kind of family you are marrying into, you will definitely find out during the process of wedding planning. Um, you know, I see so many pitfalls that happen during this process. In fact, I can almost guarantee that whenever I start having these seasons like I'm having now, where I have multiple clients at one time get engaged, that even if this client hasn't seen me in a couple of years, um, I am going to be seeing them often during their engagement process because of issues, shall we say, with their in-laws or soon to be in-laws. And what I mean by that is this. Weddings have this tendency to bring out the very best in people in your life. You get to see how much they really love you and support you. There's also something about weddings that can bring out the worst in people. And you can deal with you're marrying a man who you already knew was a mama's boy, and you thought that that was sweet. And you didn't realize that your future mother in law was going to have serious issues with letting go of her son, and therefore it was going to make this wedding process planning hell for you, right? Or you didn't realize that, like, this family was very obsessed with image and was going to second guess and question every single thing that you plan because it doesn't fit into their niche idea. This is one of the times where it is really, really important that you and your soon to be husband have these discussions about boundaries, about, setting expectations with family members, and about truly seeing whether or not your future husband is on your side and is ready to, truly commit to being a husband and creating a family unit with you. Because these arguments will come up. And I'm not saying that the person that you're marrying always has to be a yes man and constantly say that you're always right and everyone in their family is always wrong. But what I am saying is, if it gets ugly, if it results to name calling or, just inappropriate behavior, you should have the expectation that your partner is going to stick up for you and stand up for you. You should have the expectation that when the two of you, discuss these things, discuss aspects of planning, and come to an agreement, that he is going to back that up because the two of you have reached this agreement together as your new family unit. You should have this expectation that this person can step in and mediate because that is their job. It's also your job on your side, as the bride. It is your job to talk to your side of the family and make sure boundaries are set, make sure those expectations are in place. The two of you, now that you are engaged and planning on getting married and spending the rest of your life together, the two of you have a responsibility towards each other. The two of you have a responsibility to be together as a unit. And the engagement process, the wedding planning, is where that is really going to be put to the test. Speaking of which, that brings me to my third point is husband involvement. And I mean this in both ways because you could end up with a groomzilla, someone who makes the wedding all about them, all about how they're going to look, all about the image that they portray, and is going to have 50 million demands. You could also end up with someone who acts like, oh, weddings are a woman's thing, no one cares about it, and they completely stay out of the process. Neither of these things are good. And on that second half of the spectrum, even if your husband is not excited about the wedding, the event, he should be excited about anything that makes you happy and excited. So, if there are things that you specifically want, if there are things, certain aspects of the day that you are really excited about, this wedding is an event for both of you. And he should take active involvement and interest in that. And if not, you need to question how excited and committed is he to process of even being with you. Again, doesn't mean that he has to be, spending hours poring over books, deciding between different shades of blue. But interest, not rolling his eyes every time you talk, like those are bare minimum standards. And I want to say that this goes regardless of what size wedding you have or what kind of wedding that you have. If it is a courthouse wedding and you want his opinion on which dress you wear to the courthouse, then he should show interest in that, right? So, point four is wedding planning, engagement season is one of those times in life where you find out who your friends really are. Because there are some people in your life who want to see you happy as long as you are not happier or successful, whatever, than they are. And that can be a really hard thing to deal with, but you will see this from you are engaged, you are happy, you're excited, you're looking forward to the future, and you will have some friends who are still single and they are unhappily single, not talking to people who like never want to get married. Or you have friends who are in relationships and they are happy, or they are in relationships and they are married, but they aren't happy. They are in relationships with someone who doesn't treat them well or someone who they didn't want to marry to begin with. And some of these people, because they're your friends, they want to see you happy, will push those feelings aside and be happy for you. Some of them, because they love you and they want to see you happy, will be honest that, they're having a little bit of difficulty dealing with things, but regardless, they want you to be happy and they will do their best to enjoy the moment with you. Some of them will second guess every decision you make, will have you questioning your decision to get married in the first place, will just be really uninvolved, or will be snippy with you whenever you bring up wedding planning. No one cares. People have gotten married before. This isn't a big deal, that type of thing. They will do their best to damper your excitement. And when that happens, you need to realize that it's time for you to take a step back. I'm not going to say that you need to ditch these people entirely, although you may need to. But that's something for you to sit with and spend some time on. I don't think kicking people out of your life is a decision that's taken lightly. So I'm not the type of person to be quick to just automatically say, get rid of people. But I will say this, something I always tell my clients is that you are a solar system, or your life is a solar system. You are the sun, and all the people that you're in relationships with are different planets. So there are some people who have earned the right to be Mercury in your life, right? And there are some people who are Pluto. And of course, all sorts of relationships in between with family, with friends, with your romantic partners, coworkers, etc. Sometimes the process of wedding planning will show you that certain people need to be moved out of your solar system, or maybe they just need to be moved further back. This person was Venus in your life at one time, and you're starting to find that they need to be Jupiter, right? And there's nothing bad or wrong about this, but it's just the way it is, and it's how life goes. It's not just during the time that you're engaged in planning a wedding. Seasons like this happen anytime you have a milestone life event. You get a promotion at your job, you get a new degree, you get a new job, you have a baby. All of these life events, these milestone events will teach you about who truly needs to be in your circle, which is why I also recommend that, once a year, you evaluate the people in your life and make sure that they are on the appropriate planets. That brings me to my fifth and final point. I mentioned, husband involvement and how sometimes you'll be questioned on decisions, uh, family members, yours and his, and how they react to what you want to do for the wedding, and your friends. All of this combines to talk about discernment and confidence. Again, being engaged is a milestone event in your life. And it is one of those times where you are really going to have to check in on your discernment. It means, again, seeing these people who are in my ear right now as I'm planning things. Are they really giving me advice that's in my best interest? Or are they saying things that come from a place of wanting to sabotage what I'm doing, or come from a place of they are so hurt, they are so wounded that they can't see what's right for me? The best example I can think of this is someone questioning your decision to want to get married in the first place because they've been in bad relationships, they were hurt, they were in a marriage and they were cheated on, things like that. And it is also going to test your confidence, your ability to stand up for yourself, to speak for yourself. And I want to say that this is going to happen regardless of what you do. Because, for example, you may say, okay, well, I'm going to have a courthouse wedding so that I don't have to deal with all this planning BS or the big ceremony or anything. There are going to be people who question your decision to go to the courthouse. Well, obviously, you two aren't really in love. You don't really love him if you're not going to have a bigger wedding with witnesses and all that. You decide to have a big wedding. Well, obviously, the two of you don't really love each other, and it's not about love. It's just about throwing a big party and putting on a show and showing everyone that you can spend money on it. No matter what decision you make, it is going to be a bad decision in someone's mind. So, this, again, because it is a milestone event, is going to be a time in your life where you're really going to have to check in with yourself, with how you feel. You are really going to have some tests of your confidence, and your ability to set boundaries is definitely going to be tested. So, again, these are 5 things that I noticed when I was planning my wedding that I kind of wish someone had given me a heads up about. Let me know, what are some things, if you are already married or if you're currently engaged and planning your wedding, that you wish you had known beforehand? And if you are single, what are some things that, questions do you have that maybe I can answer in a future video?
Hey there. So you made it all the way to the end of the episode, which means I have 2 things to say. 1, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And 2, you like me. You really like me. So I would appreciate it if you would show that by subscribing to this podcast so that more people can hear about it and enjoy it as much as you do. And if you want to know more about any of the links that I mentioned on this episode or any guests that I've had, be sure to go to KeshiaRice.com/links. That's KeshiaRice.com/links. I can't wait to talk to you again in the next episode. So see you then.